Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Ali, Coram, and Ken Shreve here with the breakdown of the action in today's session, where we saw stocks dipping a little bit ahead of the Friday jobs report, Ken.
Yes, indeed. Overall, another constructive session. Have three stocks in three different sectors today in the chip group. Let's take a look at Broadcom, AVGO. Also in the financial sector, KKR, which is ticker KKR. And finally, Sterling Infrastructure, STRL.
Okay, we will take a look at those three stocks, but first let's take a closer look at the major indexes. The S&P 500 today down a little less than 0.2%. The Nasdaq essentially flat on the day, ever so slightly lower here, Ken. So a nice close off lows, just a fractional decline on the day. The Dow down about 0.4% in today's session, slipping slightly below that 42,000 level intraday, though closing just above that key round number. And then over in small caps, the Russell 2000 down 0.8% today, continuing to head lower here, and a potential test of that 50-day moving average in the works here. But let's start off with the leading major index here, the S&P 500.
Yeah, very tight close from where we ended yesterday. So really didn't move much. We saw selling probably a little more concentrated in blue chips and small caps again today. But when it comes to the S&P 500 and Nasdaq, just very calm, orderly performances here. S&P 500 holding that 21-day line, and again really didn't budge from where it closed yesterday, and kind of holding at the top of that prior consolidation that it just broke out of. So S&P still looks good here. I suspect the market is going to move one way or another based on what that jobs report Friday has to say. That's probably the next market moving headline. Nasdaq Composite, closed. It looks like in the bottom half of its range, off lows, but still holding that 21-day line. This index is still a breakout candidate. There's no question about it. It's just been drifting lower and mostly light volume, and we'll see if it can ready itself for a possible breakout try over 18,000 here.
Yeah, we definitely would like to see that. Okay, elsewhere, let's take a look at the energy sector, Ken, because this was definitely a standout today and this week has been big for the energy sector. So today, XLE, the sector ETF here, up 1.7% on the day. The gains so far here, Ken, for this beaten down group that's been sharply underperforming, up 5.9% for the week with 1 day to go. This coming as Mideast tensions continue to flare.
Yeah, people not sure what the next step is going to be if Israel does strike Iran. What is that strike gonna look like? So there's still some uncertainty there, but yeah, you have a nice breakout over a trend line here. It's interesting when you look in the energy sector overall, whether it's the drilling group or equipment companies. Exploration and production firms. It's really hard to find kind of actionable stocks because the selling has been so intense in oil for such a long time. It's not easy to find actionable stocks here. So while you have XLE, rallying sharply off lows, you still have a lot of oil and gas names that are still far off highs, just like XLE, and trying to rally back. But some of these names are going to face some overhead supply that we talk a lot about. So not ready to say that oil and gas stocks are a leading area of the market. They certainly have been performing well recently, but remains to be seen if they're going to be able to provide sustained leadership. Probably a good area to keep an eye on, but still a lot of technical damage done to a lot of stocks in this sector that to me probably needs a little more time to repair.
Okay, let's see if the shifting tides will last there. Let's also check out the dollar and gold. So here's the UUP ETF tracking the moves in the US dollar up again today here. So a 4-day winning streak. The weekly gain for the currency, of course, this is really smush. And this isn't cryptocurrency we're looking at. We're looking at the dollar,
Right.
but up 1.6% on the week. So what do you make of this move?
Well, I think it's very interesting to see the strength in the dollar alongside gold still outperforming. We had a little selling in the gold space today, but just looking at GLD showing so much strength here. You know, gold is generally priced in dollars, so there's like this inverse relationship. Typically, when the dollar is strong, it can bring gold prices down, and vice versa. When the dollar is weak, it tends to benefit gold. So it's very interesting to see this. Almost a dichotomy here where you have the dollar strengthening, yet gold is still being bought here. And I think it's a GLD is a good example how you have such a massive gain from 220 past 240, and it's just sitting up here holding near highs. So gold continues to be along with utilities an area of strength in the market.
Mhm.
And honestly, that's what makes things tricky here. You know, it seems like every day when we have a kind of sort of a mixed and mostly unchanged performance for the market, got a lot of stocks that are down 2 or 3%, but you've got other areas of the market that are acting strong. So gold continues to be a nice area of strength here.
Yeah, definitely a good call out there. Outperforming the S&P 500 all year long, and most notably over the last couple of months, no doubt. And a couple of different factors here, Ken, it seems, if you take that a step back with yields falling, making gold look more attractive compared with bonds. And then you have Mideast tensions that we've been talking about. And you have major foreign countries like China continuing their move to gold. So a lot of interesting things happening here with the shiny metal.
Definitely still holding a bid here, and its strength is, I think you need to continue to pay attention to. Typically, it's sort of a safe haven trade, and maybe that's what it is now. But certainly, still acting strong, like you said, for a variety of different reasons. But definitely, very interesting to see it still working, even as you have the dollar strengthening here.
Really great point there. Okay, well, let's take a look at a chip stock today. Broadcom AVGO pulled back a little bit by the end of the day, closing with a gain of 0.7%. But since the earnings report and the turnaround in the stock here, Ken, over the last couple of weeks, this has increasingly become a setup that has developed.
There's no doubt about it. You saw three straight declines just recently. Came down to its 21-day moving average, and those declines came in very light volume after some nice higher volume gains here. So you can see its accumulation distribution rating of B plus is indicates generally strong demand for shares. Of course, a lot of talk was about Nvidia and what Jensen Huang said yesterday on CNBC, saying that demand for the new Blackwell chip that's in production now is insane. He said, and so you had chip stocks, especially these AI chip stocks rallying. Broadcom, like Nvidia, kind of paired gains and closed off highs, but this is still in a nice setup here. Just looking at last week's high as kind of the high point in the handle here. If we get a nice market rally, I would keep an eye on Broadcom. Very, very big in AI, just like NVIDIA. They make customized chips for AI applications. So very, very big in AI, just like NVIDIA. And easy to look past Broadcom when everybody's talking about NVIDIA, but they're still very well positioned. You can see the growth and top line growth in recent quarters. Bottom line growth, top line growth, all really solid here. Weekly chart kind of shows a kind of wide and loose pattern. Just maybe a little volatile, but I like the handle that's forming this week, and we'll keep an eye out, see if it can start moving again.
Mhm. Yeah, depending on where it closes tomorrow, could be a 3 weeks tight here, with
Hmm.
closes within 1.5% of the most recent couple of weeks there. And taking a closer look at the daily chart, support at the 21-day line. You also have this peak around 172 in the middle of the base, which is right around now. So this handle that's potentially forming is something we'll be keeping tabs on.
Absolutely, and it's just been again good volume as it rallied up over 150 and just pulling back in light volumes. So it's just kind of setup you want to see, and obviously Broadcom is a fundamental powerhouse, just like Nvidia. Nvidia probably growing a little faster than Broadcom at this point, but Broadcom is still a institutional quality AI name for sure.
KKR in the finance sector, also on our list. We had a breakout from a cup with handle base a couple of weeks ago, above average volume behind the move there. And if you take a look at this weekly chart here, similar situation, we could see a 3 weeks tight on our hands by Friday's close if this orderly, quiet, tight action over the last couple of weeks continues.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of similar to Broadcom, when KKR really started to move over 120, it did so, I think, like you said, in pretty decent volume. Good up volume, higher volume gains, and then it's just been kind of drifting lower, holding on to the bulk of those gains and holding above its 21-day exponential moving average here. So the tight trading near highs is a good sign. It's in a lots of asset managers in the investment management group are acting well. Again, fundamentals are the story here. KKR has got a good track record of earnings and revenue growth. Annual estimates look pretty good here. For me, I'd love to see KKR kind of pull back into that buy zone from the 124.20 entry. Maybe it's a test of the 21-day line. It's not there yet. If it continues to trade tightly and hold near highs again, that what we call that 3 weeks tight pattern can give an alternate entry if KKR starts to move into new high ground. So either way you look at it, it's a stock that's has good fundamentals and good technicals. Makes it a good name to watch in the financial sector.
Okay, and last on our list is STRL. This is Sterling Infrastructure. And what a strong structure this one is forming on the chart, Ken.
Actually, all three of these stocks look a little similar,
Yeah.
especially Sterling and KKR, because just nice volume as Sterling started to move, and now it's just been drifting lower in very quiet volume. So maybe it'll come down and test the 21-day line, come a little closer to that last buy area, or maybe it doesn't test the 21-day line, continues to move sideways, and then tries to break out over 150. So this is a stock showing relative strength. Again, good fundamentals. You had a little bit of acceleration in revenue for when they reported second quarter results. So another setup here. Very strong group too. 20 out of 197. So you've got some other stocks acting well here. So Sterling Infrastructure doesn't trade a lot of volume on a daily volume is light, but it's a high priced stock. So average daily dollar volume is certainly well within the criteria that we like to see. So thinly traded, but a high price stock, and tends to trade in pretty orderly fashion.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Ken. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Please hop on over to our leaderboard scorecard webinar happening at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. If you are a leaderboard member, Ken, I know you're going to be there.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go over the third quarter, talk about moves that we made. We're going to be talking about just our thoughts on the market and what we see happening. But we've got good diversity of holdings in the model portfolio. Not a whole lot of tech at this point, but we're still
Yeah.
holding that Nvidia
Mhm.
position, and we'll talk about the hedge that we put
Yeah.
on starting in late June. So, as always, the scorecard will have a lot of good info.
It sure will. So if you are a leaderboard member or trialist, go to leaderboard.investors.com and you'll see a banner at the top of the page for you to click through to join the webinar today. So we'll see you then, everyone. And then, of course, we'll see you tomorrow morning on IBD Live, where we're going to be joined by O'Neill Global Advisors portfolio manager, Charles Harris. He will make his return to the show. Lots to cover, as always, lots of stocks on the move as of late. So we'll see his take on how things are going. So that's in the morning, investors.com/IBD Live for all those details. We will see you there. And then we'll also see you right back here tomorrow after the close to wrap up the week.